Hey guys, welcome back. It is your favorite game of the month, and I'm here with a quick one that oh man, it pissed me off. I gotta say, it pissed me off. I'll put the comment up so you guys can see why I'm irritated. But the guy comments about how you charge to do reviews and admit to being part of the marketing instead of being an objective reviewer. Deuces, like, dude, you got no freaking clue what you're talking about. And I've seen people talk about this issue before, and I'm going to address it again because I can understand some of the controversy around it. But I'm going to let you guys know right now, the bigger the reviewer, the more likely it is they're getting paid. And I guarantee you, every one of the big names, and I'm not going to name them, but especially the bigger names, and it doesn't really matter what you're reviewing, but we'll keep it board games for this. They're getting paid for their time. That's just flat out how it is. Now, me personally, I tend not to charge companies to review anything. And I do that specifically because a lot of these companies that I work with are smaller, they're mom and pop, they're family run. They just don't have that type of a budget to pay for that level of marketing, which I get. Right. And I totally understand that. And with them, I like to help out the smaller ones. Company I've talked about, out in, I can never remember the country, Slovakia or something like that. Eastern European country. They don't have the funds for it. One man operation, family operation. So I cover the game so they don't have to worry about it. And it's a little free marketing for them. And they send me a final copy of the game. Now, that's just standard across the industry that if you review or preview a game, they generally send a final copy to you as a way of saying thanks. Now, there is a difference between a preview and a review. A preview or a Kickstarter video, almost all those get paid for now. And again, I still tend not to charge for those. I can count the number of times I've actually charged for something on my hand, like one hand. And I've got hundreds of videos up. So you guys can see it's very rare for me to actually charge anyone for it. And the reason is if it's directly a marketing thing, so a preview thing, right? You're doing this to get it some publicity before the campaign launches. Of course, those publishers are paying those people, whoever it is. And like I said, I guarantee you, if it's a bigger name, someone multi-tens of thousands of subscribers, they are getting paid. Now, to be fair, there are some horror stories around that. There was a big one, I want to say it was last year, where a reviewer kind of got caught because the company called him out for his bullcrap, where they were previewing a game that was coming out and they did like two, in a way, previews for it. And they were given their opinions on the game, but their original opinion, so the first opinion, was a very bad one and was saying a lot of negative things about the game. And they basically message the publisher as they're getting ready to launch their Kickstarter. And they'd already been paid thousands. We're not talking about a few $100s. They were paid thousands for the original. And they messaged the publisher and like, hey, our initial impressions are this. They're not that good, blah, blah, blah. But if you would like to pay us for our time, and it was some substantial sum, I think it was like 10 grand or 12 grand that they were asking for. I forget the exact amount. Yeah, if you pay us this amount, then we'll take the time to sit down with the game again and give it a more thorough go over, and maybe our opinion will change and it'll be a positive one. That was a pretty obvious, hey, if you don't pay us to do this preview again, then we're just going to put up what we got now, and it's going to negatively impact your campaign. Thing is, they were dummies. They did this by email, and they ended up, because the publisher rightfully was like, no, we're not paying you more. We're not paying an extortion fee. So the guy puts up the negative review, And then the publisher starts sharing some of the emails back and forth. And that ended up making the reviewer look very bad. I'm not going to name all the names involved. If you Google it, you should be able to figure it out. The reviewer who did that had an interesting name. So I can understand that thought process. And the thing of it is a lot of people don't get exactly how much work goes into these preview videos, especially the difference between some people. Some people, they'll just start their camera and they just film and just upload it directly. They just film it like they're doing a live short and call it a day. And it's either or, you know, some people do this, some people do that. I try to put more production value into mine and do all my own lighting, do all my own editing, sound work, all that stuff. That takes hours, right? So I have to record many hours of footage, and then I have to edit that down into a more concise video, cut out dead spots, cut out stumbles upon words. I can't tell you how many times you'll flub and say something stupid when you're talking to the camera. So you got to listen to it and go through the whole thing and then go through it again and make sure you've got all that stuff out. Nice, concise flow video. I had a publisher tell me one time, it's like, wow, it's amazing. You did so good with the video. You were able to talk the whole way through it. And it's like, no, I didn't talk the whole way through it. There were plenty of times I stopped. I just edit those out. I don't leave dead air in there, obviously, because it doesn't look good, right? But with this guy commenting this, that just, oh my God, it set me off. And it's like, you got to be a realist when it comes to this stuff. Reviewers for anything, doesn't matter what it is. If they're reviewing cars, if they're reviewing games, video games, clothing, makeup, whatever it is, once you hit a certain level, then the companies start reaching out to you. And with war game companies, wargaming is a smaller niche hobby, so you don't have to have hundreds of thousands of subscribers to kind of make a name for yourself. It's smaller community, so less subscribers. And, you know, I'm at the point where now publishers, for the most part, reach out to me. Now I reach out to a few, like Red, White, and Blue Racing. We were different genres, so obviously they weren't paying attention to me and I wasn't paying attention to them, but I am damn glad I did. Very, very good game they have. But the publisher will reach out to you and say, hey, you know, would you mind reviewing this? We'll send it to you. Or it's either a review or a preview. It just depends on whether it's before the campaign or after the campaign. When it's a preview, 9 times out of 10, we don't get to keep that copy, right? And I've actually had some previews lined up that really good stuff too, really good stuff. If you're into air fighter, like modern jet fighter games, definitely stay tuned. I got something special coming up lined up. But preview copies, we don't get to keep that. Like Imperial Borders, I covered that one. Really successful video for me. Huge game, but that was a prototype copy. We don't get to keep that stuff. We have to send that back 9 times out of 10. Now, occasionally they'll have a handful of prototypes made that are close to production quality, and you get to keep those. And generally that works out for you guys. Like Assault games, Assault Sicily, Assault Red Horizon, those preview copies were so close to production value that I was telling them, like, look, don't bother sending me a final copy. This is good enough for me. But they sent me a final copy anyway, so I give those prototypes out, right? And I'll give those out to you guys so someone else can benefit from that. But to have someone impugn my dignity.
Don't dare impugn me honor, boy.
Trying to act like you're bought off. You're not bought off. It does not work that way. You know, I tell people exactly what I think. These are just my opinions. And all the reviewers I know do that, because the ones that try to get bought off tend to crash and burn. They don't tend to do well over time, because if you get caught being shady about stuff and not realistic, you start doing that thing where you're trying to kind of extort the companies, no one's going to work with you, right? And I've had companies where I've burned them on a game. Like, this was bad. Sorry. you had too much errata, or you had this, or it wasn't far enough produced. And they'll still work with me. They'll reach back out, hey, cover this. Or if they fix the game, they put out errata, they'll send me the errata and I'll re-review it. I've had that happen. Most companies are fair when it comes to that. They don't take and expect you to give them a positive review. They understand that you're putting out your opinion. That's what it is. That's all it is just your opinion. But they're not doing more than that. And I'm telling you, people probably don't get it because they don't understand, they don't do stuff. But especially those bigger ones, the ones that have the very high production values, where do you think they're paying for all that crap, right? Or they have guest speakers that are, the B movie celebrities, the Wesley Crushers that come on. They're not gonna have that level of production and not be getting paid for their time. Are you freaking kidding me? Now, yeah, I work out of my office. That's just a small one-man operation. So I would never even be able to charge anything like that. I've had publishers that when they did offer, like some of them, they donate. A lot of them, I tell them, look, if you really want to donate something, how about send me a couple of games so I can do giveaways with them, especially if it's around Christmas. I try to do that, which I've got a few lined up for you guys as well. So stay tuned for the December Whiskey Charlie episode. I keep reminding everybody we got giveaways. Or I've even had companies where I've told them donate to this charity instead, just do it in my name. And that's fine with me, right? I have had a few projects, just a few, where it was a paid gig, but it was because I was doing a specific marketing type video for them. So, absolutely, they're going to pay me for my time. But the rest of it, when it comes to just run-of-the-mill previews, or not previews, reviews, not me. God, I wish. But I've never charged it. So many of these companies are just small. They're family run. They're not making that kind of money. And you know what? I started the channel just because it gives me something to do after I got blown up out of the Marines. And it helps make my gaming hobby cost neutral to not cost me a fortune, so I can still war game and I can keep what little money I've got going towards my kids. So it really sets wrong with me when someone comments something as asinine as that. You're being part of the marketing. Yes, absolutely, I'm part of the marketing. That's what the reviews are. Are you kidding me? How many people out there, when you guys are interested in a product and you are considering buying it, you go to YouTube, you type in the product name, and you see what pops up? And it's not just games, it's everything, right? If you're curious about something and you don't know if it's worth getting or not, you go look up the reviews and you see what other people think about it. I do that, and I know most of you are doing that. And I guarantee you that most of those reviews that you're looking at are paid reviews. Almost all of them are now, unless it's a smaller thing or maybe an expensive item. So people who are sent things like gaming rig computers, if they get to keep the computer, that's probably their payment. Now I'm just guessing here. I do a lot of video editing, so I need higher end computers to do that with, and I'll look up the reviews on certain pieces and products, and a lot of them talk about their review and this item and that item. Sometimes they have to send it back, sometimes they don't. But I would anticipate a higher end item like that might be the payment for the preview review video that's going out. Anyway, all this just to say that if you are watching someone and you find out that they got paid for their time, don't hold it against them. Unless you have a reason to believe that they're not being honest, then okay. But like I said, most of those reviewers, if they've gotten the upwards of tens of thousands of subscribers, more than likely they're getting paid at least a nominal fee for their time, because it takes a significant amount of time to go over the product, to review it, video it, edit, sound, all the other stuff to get everything right. And to get all that put up. I mean, not to mention the amount of time it takes to to build up to have enough of a following. That's the effort on their part. You've built up that following. This company wants to take advantage of that, and it's mutually beneficial to them. But it's not beneficial to any reviewer to not be honest. You might get away with it once, you might get away with it twice, but if you consistently say things are good, like look at, as a last example here, look at companies like Polygon, or was it? It's not De Novo. I forget the other video game reviewer, IGN, right? Those what used to be the big names when it came to video game reviews. Nobody trusts them. When I am curious about a video game and I pull it up on YouTube, those first few that pop up and they're like IGN's reviews, I don't even look at them anymore because I don't trust them. Too many times they have labeled something as positive, like that latest Dragon Age game that was just atrocious. They're giving these things middling review. Oh, it's fairly good. It's a 7. No, it's not. It's a 2 at best. You guys are being paid to say it's good and trick people into buying that crap. But because those companies have been caught so many times with their hand in a cookie jar, now no one trusts them. No one goes to them for actual reviews. The real critics, who believes them, right? And I understand that. Nobody believes them. They go to the actual people, right? The real reviewers to get their answers, because those are the ones that are going to give you an honest review. It's just the same thing with war games. It's no different here versus any other product that's getting reviewed. It's just a slightly smaller scale, right? And like I said, I'm not going to name them, but I know the ones that are above me get paid very often for the work that they do, and they should. They put in a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort for everything that they do, and they deserve to get compensated for that. And if they lie and say things are good when they're not, they'll quickly lose their following. So they have every incentive, if they want to continue to be successful, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's a real basic formula. All right, I'm going to get down off my soapbox, but I just had to put something up because that irritated me. That set my crawl wrong. I don't like it when people insult my integrity when it comes to things. I get it, it's the internet, but because I have my channel, I can bitch about it when someone upsets me. So that's what I'm gonna do. All right, that's it. Y'all take care. I'll catch you in the next one.